Give a man fire, and he'll be warm for a night. Set a man on fire, and he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Okay, everybody, welcome back to SparkleDart. You know the drill. We're just playing Pokemon today. It's gonna be a real simple day. I'm sure you're sick of it at this point, but I don't want to hear it. You're gonna start complaining. I'm just not gonna listen to it. It's gonna be something I just kind of phase out. You know, it's not something I'm interested in listening to. Your clever bands about how SparkleDart, you only play Pokemon now. It's like that's not all I do. Listen, I have a life outside of this shit, you know, and I have a lot that I have got a lot going on. Let me tell you what. I went to work last week it was, and there was some sort of event going on outside of my work building. There's a large plaza right outside of the building. Imagine it, this large plaza, probably about as big as a football field, right outside of an 8-story building that I work in. Every day I go there and I work in the building and I look out in the plaza. There's nothing usually going on out there, but today there was. Yesterday there was. It was yesterday, or did I say last week? Who knows? You'll never know. It's going to be a big mystery and you'll never figure it out. So how do you like that? I hope you don't like that. I hope you feel like I've betrayed you in some degree, because I feel like I have by letting you down. I would never want to let you down. So anyways, there was some sort of like event going on outside. I don't know exactly what it was, but there were people, there were food trucks, there were venues, there were little games. Like you go to the carnival and they've got like that test your strength game where you have to hit the thing with the mallet and then it goes all the way to the top and it goes ba-ding. And then in like cartoons you'll have one like a wimpy character who goes and hits it and it goes ba-ding to the top, and then the strong character's got to go show off, and he does that. And then the wimpy character, he gets it all the way to the top, but the strong character, he can't even get it up halfway, and that's not like a sex joke. That's like a joke of expectations. It's a bait and switch kind of joke, if you're familiar with the topic of bait and switch. It's where you set somebody up for their expectations for your joke to be one thing, and then it turns out it's actually something different, and it's not what you thought it was going to be in the first place. Now, anyways, why I'm telling you this is because there was a band playing outside, and they were like a Lenny Kravitz cover band, so you know it's real good stuff. And I was listening to them play, and then I saw there was this old man wearing culottes and a windbreaker. It was like a purple and green windbreaker that looked like something right out of the 90s, and I'm sure this guy was probably in his 60s. He must have been probably 50s or 60s. It's really hard to say. I'm not exactly certain how to gauge people's ages, because I'm not ageist. Is that a word? I'm not that. So if you think I'm that, then I'm not that. So please don't call me ageist. It's not something that I hope to be accused of. And he was outside just dancing. And he was dancing. The legend has it that he was dancing for as long as I was there. He was dancing. I got to work at, it would have been about 4 p.m. is when I got there. And then co-workers who were there at like 8, they said, yeah, he's been dancing since noon or whatever it was. I don't know exactly, because like I said, I wasn't there. And it didn't seem like information that was super relevant to me at the time, so I didn't take it to heart. I know you probably feel like you left out some of that information. You feel like Sparkle, that you got to tell me exactly what it was. Anyways, why am I telling you this story? It's because this guy, he was dancing for such a long time. He was dancing until I left work, which is 8 hours, and considering that he was there before I got there, he must have been dancing all day, and I don't know how he did it. That much physical activity, just too much. I have a hard time. I live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building, and I have a hard time walking up the stairs without having to catch my breath. You know, taking a load off on the 2nd floor, maybe putting down my grocery bags or whatever it is I'm doing, and then wait maybe like 5 minutes to catch my breath. You know, check my phone, go on Facebook, see if my grandma's uploaded any new photos of their vacation to Tahiti or something like that. You know how it goes. You're all like nerds. You got Facebooks and stuff, so you know how it goes. You understand where I'm coming from when I say that. And I'm not being like racist or anything, or I mean nerdcist. Is that a word these days? Nerdcist. People are all in a tizzy. They want to be upset about everything, and I don't think nerds have been quite persecuted as hard as they should be. I think bullying needs to make a comeback. These nerds, we just let them walk around, and all they do is just act like they're so superior. They're like, I'm a nerd, I know calculus, I know math, I can show you the world, shining, shimmering splendor, over, sideways, and under on a magic carpet ride. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, you nerd boy? And then I flick him in the nose, and then I strut away, and then he's like, what just happened? He just took me for a spin. And it's true, I did take him for a spin, but I didn't mean to be so mean to him. He really had it coming, though. I don't appreciate that sort of thing. If you're gonna be a nerd, that's fine. But if you're going to act all smug and superior about it, like, oh, this guy's a jock. Let's go pick on him. Let's tie his shoes together and then like stab him with a trowel, and then he'll try to chase after us. And when he does that, he'll fall right over on his face. It'll be really funny. And then we can like take pictures and upload them to Instagram and be like, look at this old jerk. He tried chasing us and then he fell over and now he's bleeding to death. Isn't that a hilarious joke? Check it out, Instagram.com, for all your stabbing-related deaths. Anyways, I didn't mean to plug Instagram because it's not a service that I use, but if you want to go to Instagram, I'm not going to stop you. You can look at pictures of like ponies and pictures of, you know, just plates of food people have been eating, and then sharing with their friends, and then being like, I went to this bistro and they had a lot of good soups and Angus steaks and stuff like that, and I'm like, you know, that stuff looks good, but I bet it was really expensive, and I'm sure you could probably just pick up your own cuts of Angus beef at the local kosher deli and get, you know, some of that stuff, you know, really make it your own thing. You know, you put all your seasonings on there, maybe some panko Italian bread crumbs. It's delicious that way. Now, if you don't think that that's the way you want to go, then I guess, you know, whatever. Be okay with paying like $25 for a cut of Angus steak and a side of, I don't know, corn, rice, vegetables, and a nice Chardonnay or Merlot or whatever sort of dumbass red wine you like to drink because you're a lady. Sorry, that was really mean. I didn't mean to say that. That came out wrong. Here's my official apology. I'm sorry. No, don't attack me. I don't want. I'm just an old man trying to live his life, and if you're going to try to persecute me for saying things, speaking my mind, then I guess you can do that. But whatever. I'm not going to listen to you. It's not your place to tell me that I'm wrong, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. If you really, oh my God, really? That's 3 times in a. Okay, this is getting to be a little bit asinine. I normally I'm okay with asinine, but this is just right up my alley. Now I don't want to be that guy who plays the victim card all the time, you know, like the minorities like to do. But I've got this thing where whenever I have to do some sort of luck-based endeavor, it always turns out, like, even if it's 50% chance, I could say I'm gonna flip heads, and then I'll flip a coin 6 times. It'll be tails every time, just like when Hillary won the caucuses from Bernie Sanders in Iowa not too long ago, if you know about that. I think it's ridiculous. I guess we're just choosing our politicians based off of the flip of a coin, but I guess our presidents based off the flip of a coin. I guess it makes sense, though, because some of those coins have pictures of presidents on them, and maybe someday Hillary Clinton will be on the back of a nickel. I sure hope not, but maybe that will happen one day. They started putting Indian women on nickels, and they started putting black women on nickels too, so maybe the first female president isn't that far of a stretch. Maybe that's not too far outside of our realm of possibilities these days, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know. They put Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill, even though he was against government-issued currency or whatever. I don't know the exact. There's some sort of thing going around called Hamilton. It's just Alexander Hamilton, his life and times of Hamilton, and he wouldn't have wanted to be put on money, but then they took him off, and then they put Harry Tubman on money. Same person, right? It's basically the same person like 100 years later, if you know what I mean. They both stood for civil rights, and then they got knocked down by water hoses. Anyway. Oh, no. Oh, God, why did I say that? I'm just digging myself a hole here. I guess that's kind of my own fault, but whatever. It's if I got a laugh out of it, and maybe you got a laugh out of it too, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. But if you thought that was funny, then you can go ahead and congratulate me. Go ahead and type down in the comments below, say SparkleDart, fuck you, you're very mean. The things you say are offensive, and I know somebody who has a black relative, so please take it back. And then I'll say no, thank you, and then I'll walk away, and I'll slam the door, and then I'll say you're not the boss of me now, and you're not so big. And then you'll be like, what are you referencing? I'm not familiar with that reference that you're making. And then I'll say it's Malcolm in the Middle from the Fox program network. You should go check it out. It's a really good show. And then you'll be like, no, I'm not going to do that. I refuse to watch television. And I'll be like, why do you refuse to watch television? That's a little childish of you to be like, to absolutely outright refuse to do something. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up, if you know what I'm saying. It doesn't check out. That's all I'm saying. is if you don't want to watch television, that's fine, but don't call it childish. I think that's a little bit ridiculous, and on your part, that's childish. It's like when somebody calls you stupid because you're using words that they don't know, like, I don't know, ubiquitous, and then they're like, well, I don't know what that word means, so I'm just going to assume that you made it up, or that it's some sort of nerd word from, like, Dungeons and Dragons or Star Trek or some of that, like, dumbass nerd shit that I don't listen to because I'm a jock, or I'm a stone man, and I've got a big-ass mole on my face, and I'm fat, and I wear t-shirts that have pictures of, like, SpongeBob dressed as a gangster on them, and I still use MySpace, and I have a T-Mobile track phone, and I wear my hat slightly cocked to the side, and I also only live with my mother, and my father I don't know because I've never met him before. So don't be like that guy. Don't drink Faygo, because that's disgusting. And I don't quite remember if I talked about Tila Tequila before, but I'm going to bring it back up because it's just so amusing to me. She's like super amazingly, what is she? She's like, I think she thinks she's the second incarnation of Adolf Hitler's, and you know what? Props to her for thinking. She can think that if she wants to. I'm not going to tell her that she's not. Obviously, if reincarnation is true, then it's baseless for me to assume that she doesn't know what she's talking about, because reincarnation, some people do believe in, like the Buddhists. They're all like, yes, I'm going to be reincarnated as like a cow, or as a piece of French toast, or as a tax attorney, and then it's going to be great. I'm going to live my life that way, and then it's going to be a lot more fun than the life I've lived this time, because I've just been sad all the time. I've been like going to work 9 to 5, getting home, drinking a Bud Light, watching the game, going to sleep, and then that's just what I do 5 days out of the week, and the other 2 days out of the week I have to go to the mall with my wife because she has to go to Victoria's Secret, even though she's 41 years old and she isn't as attractive as she thinks she is anymore, because women and men still age the same way, and they just stop being as attractive as they are when they're younger. That's just the nature of how things work, biology, if you will. Not that there's anything wrong with aging or nothing like that. I'm not going to... If you're grandpa, you know what? You be the best damn grandpa you can be, because it's not my place to say you're bad for being a grandpa, and it's not my place to say you're bad for being a school marm. So please don't misinterpret what I'm saying as that sort of thing. That's all I'm asking of you. And if you're going to disrespect me for asking a favor of you, and then you're just like, nope, not gonna indulge you, I'm just going to ignore you, and then I'm going to keep on clicking on clickbait links on Facebook, on BuzzFeed, and reading about how these 6 amazing sex acts that got people arrested. That's probably something. I don't know exactly if that's on there, but if you can find that and then link it to me, I will go and look at that, and then don't talk to me again for about 15 minutes, and then you can talk to me, and then I'll be in a bad mood. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not asking you for much, but I am asking you for just the comfort of knowing that I don't have to be persecuted in my own home, especially by people like you, the viewer, people who donate to PBS. If you've ever donated to PBS, props to you. I like Arthur, and that is allowed to continue due to donations by folks like you. If you don't like Arthur, go check it out. There's an autistic boy, there's a rabbit who has rabbit ears, but then he wears like headphones on the side of his head where his people ears would be if he was a person, and it doesn't make sense. And there's an aardvark, and he raps about being an aardvark, and it's really stupid and incessant, just garbage. But if you want to watch a good show, watch The Magic School Bus. It's about all the Burger King kids. They go on adventures in the Magic School Bus, and there's a kid named Wheels, and he's in a wheelchair, and it's like, why would you call the kid named Wheels? If he's in a wheelchair, that seems a little short-sighted on your part. And they're like, oh, I didn't even realize. That was a complete mistake. We didn't realize he was in a wheelchair and that we called him Wheels. We thought that we just named him that, and then that it was a complete mistake that he was also in a wheelchair. That wasn't part of our plan. That wasn't part of our master plan. Let me tell you this right now. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think I believe you, but I can't cite precedents to say that you're wrong, so I'm just going to have to accept that maybe you do know what you're talking about. Because it doesn't make sense to me. It seems offensive, and it seems like it was a cruel joke, like you're just making a sick joke at some handicapped boy's expense, and I don't appreciate that. But honestly, I guess it's not that big of a deal. If you wanna take a jab at a handicapped boy, you know what? You go ahead and do that. If you've ever read the book The Mystery of the Dog in the Nighttime, it's like some dog gets killed by an autistic boy. Oh no, what happens is some lady's dog is murdered, and she thinks it's her neighbor's son because he is autistic, which means he's a sociopath, obviously, like all those Columbine kids. And obviously, somebody with no social graces like that has to be a dog killer. If your dog dies, just suspect the weirdest person in your neighborhood. That's all you have to do. And I'm guessing like maybe 5% of the time you'll be right. But if you're just randomly guessing, that other 95% of the time you're less likely to be right. So I guess that's all I'm saying, is that your best chance is accusing the weird people who can't defend themselves because they don't have the social ability to do so. And, you know, I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think, you know, you should just, if you got an autistic child, just leave him in his bedroom and give him some Legos and give him, like, Minecraft or, I don't know, a very heavy blanket that he can wrap himself up in so that he doesn't get sensory overload, because that's something that happens. You can buy weighted blankets, and I guess they're filled with gravel or sand or maybe, like, steel wool or something. Hey, speaking of steel wool, what kind of sheep do those come from? I've never seen, like, a steel sheep. Or do they just feed regular sheep a lot of iron? That's a joke. Don't think I'm being serious. That's a joke. So go ahead and yuck it up. Go yuck, yuck, yuck. That was a funny joke, and I'm going to tell that to my wife, and she's going to roll her eyes at me, and then we're going to get divorced in, like, 2 months because of the cheating that I've been doing on her. So, anyways, I think I'm going to wrap this one up soon. I don't think I really accomplished a lot, but you know what? That's not the point. This is just about chilling out, relaxing, maxing all cool, and shooting some b-ball outside of the school. And you know what? If a couple of guys are up to no good and they start making trouble in your neighborhood, you get in one little fight, your mom gets scared, and then she tells you not to go play with those boys anymore, and then she puts you in homeschool. And that's how I understand the story went. But I might be wrong, because the person who told me was very high at the time, and he was laughing when he was telling me. And it could have been that he was laughing because he was high, but it also could have been that he was laughing because he knew he was telling me false information and that I was buying it, because I was like standing there writing it down, nodding my head, like in a little, with my little pen and notebook. I'm like, yes, that's very interesting. Please tell me more about this boy who gets in trouble with his neighborhood. And he's like, okay, his mom got scared and then she put him in homeschool. And I'm like, that's an amazing story. Where did you hear this story? He's like, on TV. It was on 2020. And I'm like, I thought they just covered like news and politics. He's like, no. And he was laughing the whole time, and he smelled like rubber cement. So anyways, thank you for thank you for watching SparkleDart. Goodbye. Mwah.